Hi, beautiful ones. I was tuning in and listening with my heart to what message is needed for this month, the month of March, and we are in the Northern Hemisphere. So, spring is upon us very soon. So, I want to invite you to a quieter place, both externally and internally, to allow yourself to receive and listen in to this message and what might be here for you, what might be words or a frequency, an energy, something that your heart needs. So, like I said, we are in the month of March. We're here in this northern hemisphere where the thaw of winter is beginning to fade, and the whispers of spring are beginning to come through, and we can see this through the crocuses and the daffodils and the tulips here in Western North Carolina. The beginning is emerging, and the ending is happening, right? So we are living through yet another cycle of transformation. We are living through the end of winter. Even if you live in Florida or southern Texas or Hawaii or somewhere else where it's warm most of the year or all year, we are connected to and inherently part of nature. And so these rhythms, these cycles are our true nature. And some of what we're being invited to now is to remember that and to move with those natural rhythms and cycles that are our own, that come from this internal place, not placed on us externally. So as we move with the end of winter, as this period of deep cold or of often what happens is nature sheds so that the nourishment can go down deep into the roots. And now what is happening is we're seeing the effect of that deep nourishment as it begins to emerge into new life. And friends, this is our cycle as well. That though we have the calendar year that says a new year begins in January, perhaps if we listen to our body, to our psyche, our soul, our beingness, perhaps we might find that really we awaken with the dawn of spring. And so I'm inviting you to notice yourself, to notice your own rhythm, to notice if perhaps something in you that's been dormant is awakening now, beginning to awaken, not fully, but just beginning to crack the surface, beginning to peek through the soil and feel the sunshine. Perhaps you've been living in rhythm to the Gregorian calendar that says the new year 2025 started in January, and you came and you just started moving, you set your goals. And do you feel that shift in energy? That there's a pushing, there's a making something happen. There's a, I have to go out and grasp. And the message right now is nature is never in a hurry, nature never rushes, and yet all is accomplished. And it's in divine timing, it's in nature's rhythm and timing. And so as we attune ourselves to the natural cycles of the seasons, of day and night, of sun and moon, of new moon and full moon, our bodies and our spirits begin to find an ease because they're living within the container that is inherent and innate to us. It's our intrinsic knowing. It's just that we've forgotten, that we have gotten really disconnected because we have all of these lights that tell us to stay awake through all hours of the night, that we have these houses and these jobs that often take us out of sunlight, out of connection with the trees and with the birds and with nature's animals and plants. And so the invitation this month is to tune back into the voice of nature, both the natural world around you and your nature within you. If you didn't push and you allowed, what might a day look like for you? Now you might say, Christy, but I have to wake up to an alarm clock, and maybe the alarm clock is my dog or my cat or my children. Maybe it's not the ding, ding, ding of the clock, but perhaps it is. So how do I find my own rhythm? Well, we typically have to take a few steps back to see, what is my rhythm? What do I experience and feel in my body, in my own spirit? What do I need to even begin to notice that or to be connected to myself? And that requires intention. So that might mean that we have to start our day from the ending. And we look at and feel into, when do I feel tired, like I'm really ready to go to sleep, but maybe I push past that. And we begin to notice that we're pushing past our natural rhythm of wanting to go to sleep. And we begin to adjust to going to sleep when our instinct, when our body says, oh, it's time. And so that might mean that we have to adjust our dinner time. We have to adjust our connection time with our partner or our friends. If we go out one evening, how do we honor our natural rhythm? And that might mean that we continue to make adjustments through the day till we feel and we find, when do we feel the most energized in our day? When do we experience the most connection with a sense of ease, of flow, of those places where we know we are living fully alive. We feel ourselves in our bodies and our gifting, who we are, our essence, our presence, our beauty is allowed to and has space to move within and through us. And perhaps you only experience that in little snippets throughout your day. Perhaps you don't experience it at all. Or perhaps that is how you have tuned your life, so that is how you live more often than not. Friends, we can discover how to live in and within our natural rhythms. And this month, as we are shifting from the end of winter into the beginning of spring, we can listen to nature's invitation to follow her pattern, to allow and to notice what in our daily lives needs to or is coming to an end, that there's a natural death, a natural change that wants to happen because that the change, right, is something is ending and something new is beginning. And that's the path of transformation always, whether it is in a physical death or it is in a metaphorical or smaller version of death. Death meaning there is an ending. An ending is also a beginning. And in that rhythm, in that pattern of nature that flows like this, there is space between. There isn't an immediate shift. There's a gradual movement. And I feel that often our society, our world, our modern world does not honor the space between, but moves very quickly from one thing to the next. And that is how one way in which we feel so disconnected and disjointed and stressed, right? We carry all this stress in our bodies because it's too much, too fast. And it's not enough and not slow enough of those things that we deeply need to be nourished, right? Do we give time for the roots to be nourished, for ourselves to not have so much input? Do we allow ourselves to go through the cycle of shedding, like trees lose their leaves, like snakes shed their skin so that they can embody the new? This is the pattern of nature. Our dogs, they shed their fur a couple of times a year so new growth can come through. This is the invitation this month, is to reflect on your own life. Reflect on your daily schedule, your daily rhythm, and notice, perhaps like I suggested, starting at the ending and moving backwards so that you can begin your day with intention, so that you can begin your day with what nourishes you, with what brings you into more of a sense of aliveness throughout your day, so that you are not functioning out of survival, out of stress, but that you are aware of what you need and beginning to really know how to meet those needs so that you can overflow into the lives of those people and creatures around you who you love, right? So as we tune ourselves as if we're an instrument, right? I love the cello. So as if I am a cello, where am I out of tune? And how do I notice, take the time to really tune myself so that there is resonance, so there is vibrancy, so there is space for life, for new life to come through. So that requires us to slow down, to be intentional, to really tune into ourselves and our own rhythms, and then to create from that place, to create our days, to create our lives from a place of reflection. What is it that we want? How do we want our days to end? Well, then we can begin well. We can begin our days the way that will guide us, will help and support us to ending our days the way we want. And friends, that's really a small picture of the larger picture of how do we want to live, right? The ending is certain. These physical lives will come to an end. So in light of that, how do we live now? That's a much bigger question. But as we begin to intentionally lean into and attune to our daily rhythms and creating our days with intention, with care, tending our lives like a beautiful garden, right? So we see the garden we want our lives to be. Well, it requires us to be thoughtful, to listen to our hearts, and to connect our hearts and our minds, and to create from that abundance, that space within. Okay. I invite you to get out a journal or a piece of paper. Again, whether you write or you doodle or you use color or your body or you just go sit and listen to the rest of the natural world, this invitation is to reflect, to slow down and allow yourself to be present with all that is within you, to reflect on what it is that you want your life to look like, and then to notice what is needed in order to create that life. Tuning into the rhythms of this natural world where we are at an ending of winter and the dawning of spring. I invite you to be with the wonder that is present in spring, of new life coming up everywhere, of the colorful flowers beginning to show their faces, of the songs of the birds beginning to have a different sound, a different tune. They're alive with energy as well, right? The warmth, the sun, it's all returning in a way that enlivens us. We don't need to move too quickly, and we can trust that we're not moving too slowly. We're just learning to be in our intrinsic, innate rhythm. And we can do that as we tune into the natural world around us. Okay, dear ones, many blessings to you this month. May you pause and listen. May you feel and hear and sense the laughter and delight that is present as the flowers peek their heads through the ground and as the birds return in all their fullness. As the leaves begin to grow back on the trees, may you too notice where life is returning in you. Until next month.